Red Bull Wololo Legacy is heating up, and we've got the first of two semi-finals with Lucifron playing in the west side of the map in blue as the French, and his opponent in the semi-finals will be none other than the Mista, playing in yellow as the Holy Roman Empire. The first map is Gorge in a best of 5 with huge stakes. One of these players will be progressing to the grand finals of the $300,000 tournament, the biggest tournament we've seen in Age of Empires 4. And hosted by Red Bull. This is going to be an interesting civilization matchup. The French versus Holy Roman Empire. And we can see Lucifron going up to the next stage with 5 villagers on the School of Cavalry. With the Holy Roman Empire, the Prelate inspiring those villagers. And will the Mista have an inspired performance today? Because he is going to need one to come up against the Lucifron. The Spaniard, who has been doing fantastically well in Red Bull Wololo Legacy. And I'm sure he will be looking to have a big performance today. Now the thing is, Gorge being very open, you have to be cautious as the Holy Roman Empire look to get, units on the ground quickly to counteract the French Royal Knights that will be popping out very soon, you suspect. Good number of villagers, 6 villagers on the Ark and Chapel, Prelate coming up to inspire the remaining villager on gold. Now, just a thought on the French and the HRE this matchup. The French can be very aggressive early on, and well, I mean, you have to also consider the possibility of the Holy Roman Empire being aggressive in the feudal age rather against the French, because they do have a very strong economy with the Prelate, and whilst maybe their power spike does really kind of ensue in the Castle Age, especially with being able to get those relics and man-at-arms being spammed out, but the Holy Roman Empire is certainly no joke in the feudal age, so they definitely have the tools required to defend against the French. Mista will be looking to try and get some wood though, sending the Prelate there because he will need a barracks before too long. I suspect there will be a French Royal Knight coming out. Look at that. 20 seconds and that guy will be on the field and already waypointed to the gold. You can see these players are not wasting any time. He's going to be producing that knight, and that knight is going to be going forward straight away as that villager is going to be building a house for Mista. He will not look to be, housed at all, hopefully for him. As the Mista goes for the Ark and Chapel, as you'd expect. Landmark of choice will be boosting up the villagers on wood and sheep, and even partly the berries there. So as the game goes on, if it does prolong into a mid to late Castle Age, those berries could be quite useful there for the Mista, keeping the Ark and Chapel enough distance there between the town centre to be able to seed some farms later on in the game. But that's those are discussions to be had later, because that French Royal Knight is running across the map now, looking to try and get some damage if he can. Barracks is being built by 3 villagers, and I like what I see for Lucifron. I've seen a couple of his games, and playing as a French, he really does have a very fast uptime, and it causes these sort of slight inefficiencies. Building one barracks with 3 villagers, it's something that the Holy Roman has to do because he needs those spearmen. And even now, the knight is going to get the value. There's this kind of period of time window where the French, look, as you can see, villagers are having to go back to the town centre. There's this really fast timing for the French Royal Knight to pop out. And it's only now that the spearman is able to come out and defend the economy. And even then, with good micro, which, Lucifron is incredible. He's a master of micro. He is going to be looking to even keep the villagers back off that wood line. And it means that Lucifron will be forcing Mista to take straggler trees, which is not a bad play as the charge attack comes out of the knight. And there's a second knight already coming out, and a charge on the spearman could take it out. And we'll be leaving those villagers exposed. But as you can see, look, early on, the aggression here is really pushing these knights back. And the second spearman does come out, so it gives Mista a bit of a breathing space. Mista will be focusing on villagers on food for now. 21 villagers on food, no one on wood. And he does have a bit of wood saved up, so we'll be able to pump out a bit more spearmen. But I suspect we'll see an archery range coming out not too much further in the future for Lucifron to try and counter those spearmen. Although, as I say that, he's actually got 5 villagers on stone, so it could be the case that Lucifron decides to go for a second town centre expansion before he kind of invests in an archery range. Does appear to be the case. Stable going to be put down there for Mista as well. Looking to get some horsemen on the field. And okay, so the eco is back up and running for the Mista and the Holy Roman Empire. Villagers back on wood. Plenty of spearmen there to defend. And the economy looking strong. One thing to consider as well, having the French town centre is quite a boost for the economy as it is, because that town centre actually produces villagers faster. So you'll notice the discrepancy, or not so much discrepancy, but the difference there at the top. 27 villagers to 24, and it comes down to that French town centre. as the army here grouping out on this wood line. Knights do charge in, gets a charge attack with that Knight Lucifron on the right side. West-sided Knight drags away 3 spearmen, and the horsemen going to stick around there. But what could happen around here is Lucifron might loop around, and that's something Mista has to be careful about. He is careful and brings the spearmen back to that wood line. He doesn't want those spearmen to be dragged out too far out of position. The horsemen can head on the front lines and see what damage they can put. As we see quite a bit of villagers on stone, almost there for that second town centre. Has 8 villagers on stone, so certainly look to try and get that second town centre quickly. Building that archery range now as well. And we'll have enough wood for that second town centre as well. Will he put it on this deer pack? Quite possibly. Well, the Mista scouting that out, keeping a keen eye. And I wonder whether the Mista will go for a fast castle build behind this. Certainly transitioning to farms suggests that he won't be looking for an expansive economy in a second town centre at all. As that second town centre will be going on the deer pack. The scout does have to head out of there because of the night. But the Mista will be aware of that second town centre expansion. And I mean, it does really fit in the play of the Mista style to be aggressive in the feudal age. And the Holy Roman Empire, we don't see it that often, the aggression in the feudal age. But it looks like we'll be heading that way now. And that farming transition will be letting the Mista kind of keep his eco rolling smoothly as the spearmen look to defend that woodline. The Knights always keeping him honest. But with 2 town centres here for Lucifron, oh, there's a bit of engagement here. The horsemen kind of delayed things a little bit there for Lucifron. A second town centre will really make that eco really expand, and so the Mista has to be careful about that. He does have a window. If he can take a couple of villagers out, that'd be ideal. Might be looking to take 1 out there and then retreat. Does take out 1, and now he backs off. The archer will be taken down by the horseman. This is nice play by the Mista. 20 military versus 7. It feels like Lucifron's being a bit greedy here. And each villager that Mista kills, look, he's evening out the villager count, and that is huge. Villagers now garrison inside that second town, so I suspect a couple of units will be being lost here for the Mista. Thankfully for him, it's actually the horsemen that are tanking the damage from the arrow fire. 1 horseman does perish, and on the east side, another scout pushing away those villagers. Villagers will keep taking the berries. They shouldn't be too worried about the scout. And now army grouping up for Mista. So this is a very nice early engagement for Mista. The second town centre being punished there quite a bit. My concern for Lucifron is that this early aggression for the Mista and the economy behind for the Holy Roman Empire is so strong. The second town centre will be draining a lot of the food that Lucifron will be gathering, and that means there's less food in army. And that's exactly what Lucifron may be worried about, because the Mista, he is pumping out that army, and he's got a farming transition with the Ark and Chapel influencing. This is a very nice play here. Those villagers on the farms will be gathering 40% faster. You know, he could potentially be going out for pocket economies, which would be super risky against the French, and so instead of that, he'll use the Ark and Chapel and the bonus that the Holy Roman Empire get, and he's using it to good effect here. As a second archer will be put down by the French, he's looking to be aggressive now. Lucifron will want to stay at least into the game for at least the next 10-20 minutes, so that the economy can really start to kick in. The villagers are so idle there on the berries, and this is great value for the Mista. He's pushing the tempo of the game. He is the aggressor, and actually, if anything, the French would often like to take pocket economies, but he is going to be pinned back home before too long, because this military count is really starting to build up. And look at this, Mista investing in an outpost, not only for vision, but a position where he can just defend and act as a staging ground to attack again, as the villagers now pushed off berries, and pocket economies are completely nullified. At least, I mean, it's not even pocket economies, it's a starting economy here, the berries. And the concern for Lucifron is this gold vein. That's his primary source of gold. Gold elsewhere is pretty far away, and there we see some horsemen diving in on the town centre villages. The horsemen are going to back off again, and if this gold is nullified, that becomes a huge problem. We might start to see an outpost creep as well. Will that villager end up going forward? We shall see. Steeled arrow will be coming in for Lucifron in terms of blacksmith upgrades. Another outpost on that gorge entrance, and behind this, there's a possibility Mista might do one of 2 things. He might look to be a bit more further aggressive in the feudal age. I feel like that's not necessarily the best play here, because the French, once their economy does get rolling, they can be hugely powerful. But having said that, he's putting so much pressure that the economy is struggling to be the most efficient it could be for the French. Another option for the Mista is to go for that castle age. I mean, look at the food income coming in right now. It's a little bit insane. 15 villagers on food. Despite that, he's getting 1,000 food per minute almost. If he starts to transition more villagers onto gold, he could be looking at castle age before too long and getting those relics in. It's not necessarily Mista's starter play to play the late game, but we shall see, because 73 villagers on stone, I suspect that's more for arrow slits and emplacements for the outposts. As on the east side, a couple of horsemen are going to take part that night, and might try to retreat. He will get away with it. But Lucifron keeping his army back at home, looking to defend and boom up, and then have a critical massive army, suspect. As villagers heading out towards the berries, but look at this, Mista's on top of that instantly, and we're looking to pick off a villager. Doesn't quite manage to pick off a villager, but again, idle time being caused. Army can be moved out into that position there for Lucifron to protect those villagers on berries. Heavy investment into outposts for vision. These handful of farms, 11 farmers, it's doing so much work for the Mista. Investing in an outpost back at home, which I'm a bit surprised to see, but of course he'll be concerned about the potential of the mobility for Lucifron's knights. As in fact, Mista is investing wood into walling up as well. I like this because with any other civilization, these resources are incredibly precious, as it is with the Holy Roman Empire. But the Holy Roman Empire's like eco is so strong with that prelate that he can afford to slowly start gaining map control, and with this he does quite a lot of work. There's 2 relics in this position on the west side. Again, pushing the villagers off berries does take our knight out there, which is a really good value. Those knights are very expensive, as the barracks will be put down for Lucifron, and we do see a castle age coming in now for the Mista, playing this slow and methodical, and it's going to be building it with 11 villagers, as we see a spearman on patrol there, making sure he keeps his villagers nice and safe. And that castle age time is going to be very, very nice. Lucifron's stuck in the feudal age for now, looking to get those eco upgrades. This has been a feature of Lucifron's play, by the way, getting eco upgrades nice and early. He has a wheelbarrow, he's getting horticulture as we speak, and he's already had double broadaxe for quite some time. So whilst we rant and rave about the Holy Roman Empire economy, Lucifron trying to negate that a little bit with these upgrades. And he certainly his playstyle is for that, to get these upgrades early. Whereas we see the Mista not really getting any eco upgrades. He's getting a double broadaxe now, but that's on the way up to the castle age, and that's understandable. You already have like a massive boost of the eco with the prelate. Rex Cathedral, the monastery building for the Holy Roman Empire. I would be expecting to see a prelate or 2 coming out for the economy here to really sort of help this gold income, but he might just send those prelates out for the relics. As he sends the prelate outside of the Ark of Chapel, he takes him out to pick up some relics, and that could be a concern for the French, because the Rex Cathedral, a very powerful landmark for the Holy Roman Empire, acts as a monastery, and all relics generate 100% gold whilst garrisoned inside. And we already hear the chiming of the relics. The outposts are in those positions. This one will probably get taken down, doesn't have arrows. Spring on place coming in soon. It looks like Mista's going to be camping around this southern one, and I think he cancels that emplacement, understandably so. Although actually if he kept, no, I mean the outpost is very low on HP now, and Lucifron is happy just to ignore that. Palisade walls, we're looking to go up on the west side here. Doesn't quite manage. I think the bitey infantry, the wolf might have had something to do with that. As the first relic comes in now for the Mista. Economy looking strong though for Lucifron. 66 villagers versus 46, and quite a few horsemen go down here on the wood line. That's actually a bit of a loss there for Mista. Down to 29 military now, as we see farming transition coming out of the French and Lucifron. Veterancy comes in for the horsemen for the Mista, but only 6 of them. He'll be now looking to get knights of his own. He's going to fight fire with fire. The Holy Roman Empire knights, the Castle Age knights. We're going up against the French ones as the knight that will be trapped. There's a good pick off there by the Mista. Every little bit helps there. We do see a large force of army coming here forward for Lucifron. I'm not sure if he quite has enough against the Holy Roman Empire here. And the longer the game goes on though, at this stage, you feel like the Mista should be okay. The villager count really spiraling out of control though. 70 to 48. That is pretty significant. And Lucifron will be heading forward now. You feel like Lucifron feels he can be aggressive and try and do some damage before the Holy Roman Empire, the Castle Age army gets too strong. And we only see a group of about 3 knights. That's not going to be enough here. As a ram rush ensues for the French with a hugely strong economy in the feudal age. And the concern for the Mista is that, well, if Lucifron gets to the Castle Age, he will have a huge economy behind this, and he might even go up to the next stage with the Royal Institute. If the French go up with the Royal Institute, that will enable him to get cheaper upgrades and Imperial Age upgrades, whilst he's still in the Castle Age. And that will make his knights incredibly strong. And I like what Lucifron's doing here with the French. He's kind of comfort pick. One of the civilizations that we've seen him play time and time again is very strong at playing. He's got archers, spearmen, and knights. This makes things incredibly difficult for the Mista to deal with. Those spearmen, as an addition for Lucifron, are clutch, because those spearmen will stop the knights getting huge amounts of value, and there's no archers here for the Mista to be able to push those spearmen back, and the knights are heading towards those rams. The villagers on gold are going to be idle for some time to take care of those rams, and you feel like the rams are a bit of a distraction. It's causing a lot of idle eco, and this is huge for Lucifron. This is going to spiral out of control. Lucifron has played this fantastic with the addition of the Spearman. We've seen this time and time again throughout the course of Red Bull Wololo Legacy. The addition of Spearman and just going for a triple army composition other than just two makes a big difference here. Man-at-Arms will be coming out, emergency repairs come out in the gold. Mista is not out of it just yet, but he lost his whole army here, really. Despite being castle age for a lot of them, and the villagers are going to be going down on the gold, pushed off gold here. This is a huge push for Lucifron, not so much because he took out the armor, which is one thing and is huge, but the fact that now the gold supply is going to be tricky for the Mista. He does have 3 relics, so that will keep him sustaining that gold production of gold units for a little while, but I mean, it's certainly helpful, those relics. That might buy him some time. That might be a saving grace here. Lucifron happy with the damage he's done, now looking to actually reconvene here, consolidate his position, getting palisade walls on the east side. He has lost out on 3 relics though. I'm a bit surprised not to see a bit more of aggression. I think he's looking to, as you see, build a couple more rams and then come in with wave 2. But the Mista, he's going to make a transition. He's not going to fight fire with fire anymore with those knights, knowing that spearmen are on the field. Looks like he's going to transition to man-at-arms, which is a quite nice play overall if you can get a decent number of them. Full infantry for Mista might work quite well here. You feel like man-at-arms with a couple of lance connector, maybe, yeah, I mean, this could be good actually. Man-at-arms, a couple of lance connector could work wonders here for the Mista. And this outpost getting huge value. Like, I mean, this outpost doesn't feel like it's getting much value in terms of damage, but it's buying the Mista time. This is valuable time that he has now to reconvene and regroup and build up an army again. As the knight's going to take out the spearman, good trade off though for Lucifron, all things considered. And this is critical time. Make no mistake about it. That outpost, huge value. Now distracting Lucifron. Outpost didn't really achieve much else. Chivalry will be coming in for the French very soon. He's spending all his food that he's getting here, Lucifron. And he's committing to the feud age for now. Maybe we'll be a bit more cautious because time has gone by and he will know that Mista will have a decent amount of army. Heading towards the north, looking to get some value by raiding perhaps, as we hear another relic being picked up by the Mista. He's certainly playing the game well so far to pick up those relics. Spring order placements in his outpost and good use of the static defenses to try and prolong the game a little bit longer after losing his standing army. Spring order placements getting good value, a knight does go down and this is a good place for the Mista. He's very far behind in economy, but if he can take a decisive fight in the next 1 or 2 minutes, that could certainly help his position. Ram is coming in though. Lucifron will be happy with the situation he's in because he is being the aggressor, and behind this he's got a whacking economy. Concern for Lucifron though is that he may need to think about getting to the next stage because these castle age units will do incredible amounts of damage. The man-at-arms will rip through the spears, and this is a concern for Lucifron. He has numbers of military, but not quality. Not against his opponent. Man-at-arms are going to charge this down. Not sure if marching drills is in play for the Mista. In any case, it is actually. Marching drills does appear to be in the case in play there. He's going to snipe down a couple of these archers, and this is a great pushback by the Mista. Trouble for Lucifron is that now he needs a standing army of his own. He needs a way to stop this push, because if he doesn't, he's going to be stuck in the fuselage. He doesn't actually have any villagers on gold at the moment. That gold vein expired. He needs to move those villagers to gold, and this is a concern. Mista now raiding with some knights. Lucifron, he tried to be aggressive in the feud lane, but really it's the tech up that's going to really help Mista. Looking to get that 4th relic in. Doesn't quite manage it. Knight's getting good value here, but this will be swept up, you feel, if a couple of spearmen do pop out. Villagers are going to be at risk here. Needs to garrison them inside and keep them safe. Knights on the front line for Lucifron, and man-at-arms on the front line for the Mista. Couple of knights pick up the pocket economy. The problem for Lucifron is that whilst he does have a huge amount of villagers and economy lead, he has to stay at home, and he might have a hard farming transition here. Because he can't really take advantage of the pocket economies. Not with this sort of raiding coming in. He does have the pocket economies in the east side. He needs to protect this, because that could be a potential threat for Mista to deal with. A lot of villagers on wood, they're exposed. If Lucifron doesn't keep that safe and Mista spots it, could be in trouble. Mista securing his position at home again. A lot of villagers off the farms though. 9 villagers still garrison inside as they pop out now. Market coming out for the Mista just to rebalance the economy. Got plenty of gold, and partly because of those relics. But look at this farming economy. Villagers idled here, and you know the Mista won't mind this at all. He won't mind at all. He's got the 2nd armor upgrade for pierce armor, and he's just going to fight this. He doesn't mind hanging around at the town center. He's keeping the villagers idled here. 23 villagers were idled there for quite some time. Farming transition coming in the back, and if that's something that Mista spots... Oh no! Lucifron hasn't seen this. Villagers are being swiped out on the wood line, and the villager lead is not going to be too much for too long, because he's up at 87 versus 54, but don't forget the relic income coming of gold. And the prelate working well as well. This is a situation where now the military is going to start to overrun here. And the Mista will be using what smaller economy he has to great effect. Lucifron has more villagers, but it's one thing having villagers, it's one thing having army. Those villagers need to convert those resources into army. Without that, his eco will just keep on suffering. Lucifron doesn't have much in the way of military, only 9. Plenty of villagers on wood. These guys are... he spotted it. Mista's going to head in that position, and these villagers are idle. A lot of them go down as well, and the chase continues. And this is a concern for Lucifron, that is for sure. He needs a way back into securing his economy. He needs military. This is a big push here for Mista, and if Mista decides to be even further aggressive, this is an issue, as Man-at-Arms peel off on the west side, looking to idle the economy there, and with that second pierce armor upgrade for the Mista, he is in a great position here to just dive underneath those town centers. Stables were looking to be put up there for Lucifron, but they haven't gone up, and that's 300 wood that he's invested in that's just kind of idle there. But it just continue to run, not even to safety, and those spearmen won't be able to hold on for too long. This is Castle Age versus Feudal Age after all, and now it looks like it's the Royal Institute going to be picked up by Lucifron, but it might be too little too late. Villagers here can't get there safely, and the Mista will see this, and if he sends everything here, that landmark will never go up. Lucifron struggling in game number 1 in its best of 5. Mista playing this one incredibly smart. And Mista has a presence of mind to get those eco upgrades as well behind this, just to make sure he doesn't go a full all-in. As the knights do perish there, these Castle Age Men-at-Arms are going to rip through those. Landmark still not going up there, no villagers there, and he taps out. Lucifron taps out of game number 1. Mista in pole position. He is heading into game number 2 with a win under his belt in this best of 5 semi-finals. Can Lucifron come up with a response? We'll have to find out. Heading into game number 2 between the Mista and Lucifron. We're just going to change that overlay slightly there. We are now on Boulder Bay with the Mista playing on the west side of the map in yellow as the Rus. Getting game number 1, he'll be feeling confident, but he's going to be up against Lucifron on the east side in blue as the Holy Roman Empire. Now this is going to be an interesting matchup. The Holy Roman Empire, arguably the best, or one of the best at least, on hybrid maps, primarily because of the wood income that they get from the inspiration of the Prelate. 40% of a buff of those wood choppers. We shall see. There are other strong civilizations on water maps like the Chinese, but you know, we are up against the Rus. A peculiar pick, a civilization that does have a strong wood income, especially if you drop in a wooden fortress, which will boost up the wood income by 20%. But one thing to note, and we've seen it a few times, and just thinking about this, we have to think about the players and their styles, their abilities, their strength, if you will. The Mista is an absolute connoisseur when it comes to strategizing. And something we've seen once before is the ability of the Rus Navy to switch between different types of ships. We used to see in the beginning parts of Boulder Bay, in its original form before the recent patches and the changes that we've had, the Rus able to get those fishing ships nice and early, as you normally would with any civilization. Once he hits Feudal Age, he could potentially press a magic button and make them into the attack ships. But not only that, within the big fight, adding in fishing ships that convert into demolition ships at key moments could be a huge deal. Also, it almost feels like the fishing ships in the navy for the Rus aren't quite like the other civilizations. They're pretty big boxes in terms of being able to click on. So demolition ships within the mix of, say, archer ships or fishing ships could be very difficult for Lucifron to deal with. So if the Rus have a massive ball of navy attack ships, that could become a problem for the Holy Roman Empire to deal with. Will we see any of that? Time will tell. I'm not so sure. All I do know is that we're going to be in for a banger of a game. Game number 1, obviously already being under the belt for Mista. Lucifron will certainly want a response. Fishing economy is establishing itself. One thing to note with the fishing economy and the Rus, the larger fishing ship is double the price, 150 wood versus just 75. Also, the speed that it takes to build these is markedly diminished for other civilizations. 25 seconds for Holy Roman Empire. Compared to the Rus, it takes 38 seconds. Now, you might be wondering, why are the Rus fishing ships both more expensive and take longer? And it's because of the efficiency that they get. The larger fishing boats do not need to transfer the fish that they get back to the dock to be deposited. Rather, once they're done, they can see they just dip in and dip out and the food gets deposited. The efficiency of that, I'm not so sure on a map like this where, initially it probably won't that make much of a difference because of the deep water fish is so close to the dock position. I feel like you actually probably want the more fishing ships at this stage. But we shall see as the game does develop, we'll see if that changes. Speaking of food economy though, look at that, 400 food per minute versus 200. So you can certainly see, it does make a huge difference though. Going up to almost the 4th minute, we do see the Golden Gate landmark of choice for the Rus at the moment. 7 villagers for the Mista building that. That does mean you'll be able to send some attack ships across the map earlier. Potentially these fishing ships might convert themselves and take care of the fishing economy here. That could be a bit of a concern for Lucifron, who is actually going for a second dock. This is key. This is something already that we've seen a big difference between the two build orders and the two players at the moment, what they're opting for. A second dock, I don't know how I feel about this. So he's going to be expanding his food economy with more fishing ships, but this does leave him prone to early aggression on the navy side of things. One thing to consider though as well is that if Lucifron does have a decent uptime, which he should do if he starts to rush down this Arkan Chapel, then he should be able to defend. He has defender's advantage, and it does take some time for the navy to go across this Boulder Bay. Going for an Arkan Chapel a bit further out from his main economy in a really nice spot here near the wood. This is a very nice spot. There's a boar there ripe for the taking. That would be huge amounts of food coming in super fast. And with a prelate garrisoning inside this wood will be chopped to pieces super fast, and that would be perfect for his navy. He might even think about investing in a 3rd dock, and that's exactly what he does. And this just shows you how we can see the economy being balanced to the production. He knows that he will have plenty of wood, and so why not drop a 3rd dock? As now we see the Lodger galleys coming forward. I'm not sure if he just trained them. He might have just trained them. Oh no, he must have converted. He must have. Lodger galleys will be focusing on these fishing ships. Does have 2 of them so far. The Lodger demolition ship will coming forward as well, or just make sure his economy is safe. And I like what he's doing here because the galley will force Lucifron into some springald ships, and the counter to springald ships, of course, are the demolition ships. A couple of fishing ships will go down here. They are healing up on the dock, and they do garrison inside, but a little bit of idle time is being caused here. I say a significant period of idle time actually, and it's getting good value here, the Mista, and this all comes down to the fact that Lucifron went for a second dock early on. Is a bit greedy on that front now. He does get to the fuel age himself, so we'll be able to have a strong economy to be able to produce units, but he's going for a springald ship and a galley himself. Not able to produce from this 3rd dock. This 3rd dock was denied, and that's huge. There's quite a bit of wood invested in that, and this is a really good opening here for the Mista. We see the old remnants of the Boulder Bay strategy for the Rus manifesting themselves in this game. In game number 2 of this best of 5, and look at this Mista looking strong. Fishing ships completely idled, and he's got full dominance of the water now, and Lucifron got his back behind the wall, back against the wall. 4 fishing ships are idled. I mean, all his fishing ships are idled at this point. There's the hull. Demolition ship there for the Rus. Need to get in that position. He might lose a galley here. He'll take a trade, 4 galleys versus this one, and demolition ship is going to be edging towards that position. This could be a problem for that springald ship. The springald ship needs to take care of the demolition ship, but it won't. There's no galleys here for Lucifron. And the springald ship trying to get himself into the corner. Demolition ship just threatening. The scout might go down with the demolition ship too if he's not careful. He's going to try and keep the springald ship alive for as long as possible. But now this enables the Archer ships, the galleys, to take that apart. He doesn't even need the demo ship in the end. And he's going to use... Well, he might even use it. He's not going to use it. He's going to keep it alive for now. He can keep it safe for later. That 3rd dock goes down. And Lucifron taps out. Mista takes game number 2. He is in pole position in this best of 5. What a quick game. The Rus are incredibly strong on hybrid maps, it seems. Holy moly, and Mista goes 2-0 up in the set. We're going to have to go in for a game number 3. And Lucifron needs a reverse sweep. He has got his back against the wall. Will he be able to do it? Stick around. Game number 3 is going to come up next. Welcome to game number 3 in this semi-final set between Lucifron, who's playing on the west side of Four Lakes in blue as the Rus, and Mista playing in yellow as the Abbasid Dynasty on the east side of the Four Lakes map. And interesting civilization picks. The Rus being picked by Lucifron this time. Strong on hybrid maps, but this is a tricky one because Four Lakes does have a different dynamic to Boulder Bay, which we saw in the last map. The Abbasid Dynasty, we've seen the Mista play as the Abbasid Dynasty in a previous Four Lakes map, and they are a relatively strong civilization on hybrid maps, and the reason why is because their docks are significantly cheaper, and so he's got his dock up and running already, and before too long he'll be getting fishing economy up and running. The Rus have no such capabilities. He might have his dock up and running, But he won't necessarily be able to fully produce from this dock. He's going to get one fishing ship, but look at his wood economy rather. It's kind of struggling at this point. 150 wood per minute. It takes a fishing ship actually costs 150 wood, so it's producing 38 seconds. So there'll definitely be some idle time on this dock. But for the Mista, unlikely to have such problem. As you can see, he's already got 2 fishing ships queued up, waiting to be built. And that means the fishing economy actually starts to go online a lot quicker for the Abbasid dynasty. And last time when we previously saw the Mista play 4 lakes, he actually managed to get all 4 ponds almost. At least certainly he got 3 and was pumping out economy. And then he's focused on land and did incredibly well. We will see how this one pans out. Lucifron needs a win here. There's no way for him to progress in this tournament without a win here. He needs to reverse sweep. And that is a tall order in and of itself. We also saw the Mista go up with the culture wing last time when he was playing 4 lakes, rather than the economic wing, opting not to take advantage of half-price villagers. Often because, you'd only start off usually with 1 town centre and tend to stay with 1 town centre on maps like 4 lakes if you're contesting the waters and getting docks here. So I suspect we'll probably see the repeat of that build for the Mista, going for a House of Wisdom and the culture wing. Remains to be seen. Bit of engagement of scouts there. Both players have a decent amount of sheep, but that's not necessarily something that's too relevant in this map, unless you really get pushed off water, but even then, unlikely to happen anytime soon, of course. And 2 larger fishing ships are out and about for Lucifron. And you just feel like it's a nice spike of power there, getting the dock nice and early. It means that these fishing ships, despite the Rus having more efficient fishing ships, just the sheer fact that you get the dock in earlier and the increased number of fishing ships you can pump out earlier really does negate that bonus that the Rus have a little bit. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like the Abbasid dynasty are very strong on maps like 4 lakes. The villagers coming out towards gold now, so certainly the feud age will be on the mind for the Mista. Maybe looking to put that House of Wisdom down soon as well. Just going to get that mining camp first, of course. A lot of villagers on wood there. 15 for Lucifron. Only 11 at the moment for the Mista. Lucifron, though, yet to go on gold. And this is also because of the fact that these fishing ships do cost double the amount. Just to get this guy up and rolling and working fast, he needs a significant villager commitment to wood. Just to maintain that. And it means it's going to go up to gold slow, and the Abbasid dynasty should get to the feudal age even quicker than his opponent. And as soon as this House of Wisdom goes up, that should be the time where Mista clicks up, although actually maybe 1 or 2 more drop-offs there on the gold. And the food will be coming in nicely as well. Kind of lagging on the food really, if anything there, the Mista. Sheep being brought home for Lucifron, and he's actually palisade walling as well, trying to get a sneaky dock there, the Mista. And this is quite passive play by Lucifron. He needs to keep his fishing economy alive because it's so expensive. Those fishing boats, huge amounts of wood investment, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to deny this dock even. He might fight villagers with villagers, but I think that dock goes up. And that is a concern for Lucifron. Because going up to the feudal age now, the Abbasid dynasty will be aggressive on water, take out the fishing economy, and there's nothing that Lucifron can do about this. Well, potentially. He is going to go up with the Golden Gate, and actually, in fact, Culture Wing is going to come in a bit later. And Lucifron will get up to the next stage quicker. Because now that food income is actually pretty nice, even with just 4 fishing ships. Getting 400 food per minute at least. Wooden Fortress will really boost up the wood income. That dock goes up, and that's a position that Lucifron needs to be careful of. The concern for the Abbasid dynasty is that he can't actually increase the speed of his uptech to the feudal age. And yeah, Lucifron is going to deal with this now. He's going to take 8 villagers to torch this down. He doesn't want to have to fight on water. But even if he does, these larger fishing ships can actually convert into attack ships. We shall see if the... I don't think the Mista will be able to pump anything out from here. I think that dock goes down, but this is still worth it. I mean, at the end of the day, the Mista spent 75 wood and 1 villager walking time to build this. And this is dragging 9 villagers out for Lucifron. That's 9 villagers is not working on the economy. Overall, nice play by the Abbasid dynasty here with the Mista. Culture Wing is coming in. Preservation of knowledge will come in after that and reduce the cost of the technologies that he's researching. It does take quite a while for this stock to go down, doesn't it? And it will go down though before Mista gets to the next stage. Good number of fishing ships coming out, 6 there. Let's check on the other neutral ponds. There we are. And Mista going for the north as well, just because they're so cheap, so why not? Villager is being... Oh, actually, you might lose that villager. That dock won't go up, for now at least. Dock is idled, and the villager trying to make her way back home. Will she make it? I'm not so sure. We'll have to see. The southern pond. Mista going for that as well. And look, he's already got 5 fishing ships out. That food income is going to be keeping on par with the Rus quite nicely there. This is quite a big denial there for Lucifron. Mista getting to the next stage now, and I suspect we'll be getting the Preservation of Knowledge upgrade. He is indeed. Reduces the cost of all technologies by 30%. Looking to get some barracks on the field, looking to counteract the stable that's coming out for Lucifron. Has he actually produced anything just yet? Doesn't appear so. There's that double barracks. Just no spearmen and... Food really banking up here for the Mista. And now look at that, the eco upgrades coming in. We've got specialized pick. We've got extended lines, which increases the gathering rate of fishing ships by 20% and the carry capacity by +10. That's very significant. And double broadaxe as well. Double broadaxe already is in play for Lucifron. And if you add in the wooden fortress bonus 20%, the wood income will be very strong. And here comes out an early night. Looks like Lucifron investing in a lot of stone, looking to get a second town center, it seems. But with the Mista on 3 docks, or 2 docks for now, but did he get that third one up? No, he didn't actually. Surprisingly, he's not deleting it. Could have saved a bit of wood there, but in any case, that will go down, and he effectively has an extra town center out of this, because the Rus have the dock and the primary town center. Count that as 2 town centers effectively, and Mista has 3, 2 docks and 1 main town center. Of course, you're limited on what those docks can do. Can only gather food, but you can always balance the economy with the market and just make sure every other villager goes on other resources. As a stable is going to be put down for the Mista. They can try and push those knights back with the 2 spearmen. A lot of sheep there. Spearman pushing that villager off. Oh, actually keeps the dock alive. Wait, what? Oh, that's Lucifron's dock. Oh, okay. I thought that was actually Mista's dock, but I think Mista's dock may have gone down and deleted it, and he's now building. Yeah. That is Lucifron's dock. Trying to deny it with the spearmen, but the dock should go up. Archers in play for Lucifron, pushing those spearmen back. A couple of horsemen will be popping out soon from the stable for the Mista. Relatively slow starting game. I mean, the second game finished quicker than this. There's a second town centre now up and running for Lucifron, transitioning a bit more onto food and land economy. He's probably going to go for that wood, isn't he? Yeah. Making sure that wood and gold is safe. Walling up here, the Mista, making sure he's not too exposed to raids, making sure everything that comes in to be attacking. We're coming from the north side. Front wood line pretty exposed. Something to bear in mind as well is the exposure of wood lines. This is a very exposed wood line. There's a wood line here on the southwest. Dock is now up and running. There's a larger galley there just to protect that dock. And look at this, military wing, castle age coming in for the Abbasid dynasty, and well, Lucifron is miles away from that. Having access to extended lines, this fishing economy looking super strong. 900 food per minute, and that's just, you know, look at how many fishing ships coming out here. That is incredibly strong. Yes, 54 eco units versus 51, so relatively even on that side of things. So rather surprising to see the amount of food income per minute. This comes down to the fact that he had that fishing economy super early. Barracks have been put down. Might be man-at-arms coming out here for the Mista any moment. Now, Lucifron will be looking to get that castle age. You won't be too far behind, especially because you'll be clicking up to the next stage and you'll be building it with villagers. Still a minute on the timer for the Mista. There's a nice timing on this castle age. Looks like Mista going to try and keep his opponent open if he can. These palisade walls being denied is pretty big, actually. It gives an opportunity, a route to attack from. There's the Abbey of the Trinity, looking to maybe get some relics here for the Rus. He's going up to the castle age now. Plenty of villagers on that western gold. Surprised not to see Lucifron take this forward gold first, just in case that becomes pressured. He could then always move back to the back gold, but he's going to go up to the next stage with 14 villagers as the spearmen continue the chase. Let's take out a cavalry unit there. Lucifron not challenging this southern dock at all. Does have a northern dock of his own. So do 2 docks apiece, but obviously the Abbasid dynasty having plenty of fish economy. Having said that, Lucifron's 2-town centre now has really kicked in and has more eco units on the field with the increased number of villagers that are coming out. Right, is just getting some scouting information more than anything. There's the Castle Age uptime for the Mista, and behind this I suspect that we'll see some man-at-arms being queued up. We shall see. That is indeed the case from the 3 barracks that are there. There's also a ram on the field, so it looks like Mista's going to be aggressive in the Castle Age. Lucifron trying to wall up now. He doesn't want to let this army in, but there's still a big approach from the north that can be had. Knights are being upgraded, veterancy coming in for the archers as well. We are in game number 3, and Lucifron will want a response. He needs a response. Not only wanting it, he needs one. If he's to stay in Red Bull Wololo Legacy. As I said, Wall's coming in the north, looking to protect this eco, stone, gold, and deer. But he's got a bigger problem on his hands, because there's a mangonel on the field. And that mangonel will push those archers back. This is a concern for Lucifron. Springalds will be needed here. Doesn't have a siege workshop, it seems, yet, though, Lucifron. He needs to. He doesn't have the wood to do so. He's just having to... Okay, he's getting a siege workshop now. Fine. He's got a couple of archery being produced as well, and that wood economy will certainly help with that, but he does need to get rid of that mangonel. That mangonel is danger. Big danger. Does have the knights that might pounce on it. But it's not something he will want to leave to chance here. Because there are a lot of spearmen there looking to defend that mangonel. Siege push coming in with another ram behind that. More palisade walls coming in the south. Extensive palisade walls though. Here comes the push though for the Mista. Relic being brought in for Roos, and concern for Lucifron is if he loses production buildings, that's an issue. The knight's going to try and dive in on the mangonel. Mangonel falling within the town centre fire. He doesn't mind. He's going to unpack and try and take care of those archers and crossbows. There are a couple of crossbows there. Does get a good hit there. Knights are going to try and pressurize, but can't really dive in those spearmen. Trouble for the spearmen. They're kind of underneath the town centre. The town centre focusing on the mangonel. Mangonel does go down. There's a good pick off there. That's an important pick off, but looks like Mista diving in here a bit too quickly, it feels. He does have a camel rider. Lots of crossbows and ranged units that will melt those infantry. The infantry have had time to take care of the knights, and this is a strong push now. Look at the reinforcements coming in. Man-at-arms there as well. Those man-at-arms are tanking. There's not enough crossbows here. Lucifron is in trouble. He's got a lot of economy, but that will count for nothing because the military numbers are building up for Mista. The hyper-aggression, well, not so much hyper-aggression, but the aggression. 37 military for the Mista, diving in on the town centre. He doesn't mind fighting on the town centre. He's got the second ranged armour upgrade, and that we've seen that 2 to 3 games in a row now. The Mista prioritizes the ranged armour upgrade. He has got no other attack upgrade from the blacksmith at all. He went for the second ranged armour. He's going to get more rams, and how does Lucifron hold on here? He doesn't, because look at the villager count, 68 to 67. Mista coming in with huge amounts of pressure, and it's a pressure that I don't think Lucifron can hold into. 3 games into the set, and it's best of 5, and I don't think we're going to see a 4th. The Ram is going to take up that second town centre, and things look to be going from bad to worse as more military starts to trickle in for the Mista. You can see across the map, they're all coming in waves. And this is a huge problem. There's almost no way for Lucifron to hold on here. That Castle Age time coming in for the Mista in clutch. He was able to build up those siege units. The mangonel was taken apart, but now the Rams behind this is going to take out the town centre. He's going to use the man-at-arms just to torch this down, and Lucifron struggling on economy. Does still have more villagers, but 9 of them are idled. That town centre burns to the ground. Those villagers will go down, you feel. They're going to try and make a run for it, but how does he stop the man-at-arms? There's no real way. They're trying to equip a couple of crossbows, but it's only got 2 to 3 to his name. And these villagers on the wood line have to back off. They're going to head back to that wooden fortress, but a large chunk of that economy has just gone down there for Lucifron. Now, if the Rams work on the wooden fortress, that's another static defense that goes down. The man-at-arms are preoccupied with the house for now, but they're going to head forward to protect those Rams and push further even. And it feels like Lucifron is clinging on for dear life. I think he knows he's down and out, but he wants to try and hold on for as long as he can. After all, it is the semi-final place at stake here for Red Bull Wololo Legacy, and it looks like the Mist is going to seal the deal very soon. That wooden fortress is on fire. Another relic does come out. I mean, nothing short than a huge Wololo would be enough here for Lucifron. He is trickling down to 6 military and 65 economy, and he taps out. Lucifron knows his beat. Mista taking this set 3-0, and he books his place in the finals, the grand finals rather, of Red Bull Wololo Legacy.